Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sarah's Do Good Crochet podcast. This is episode 5. I'm Sarah, and I'm coming to you from Wasilla, Alaska. And it's sunny and it's beautiful, and everything is in a state of melt. I can't wait till everything firms up. Um, but it is looking beautiful outside. I was planning on doing a podcast just this last weekend because I wanted to make it to that 2 week mark, but our dog had a run-in with a moose, and we had to take him in to get stitches, and he's been wearing the cone of shame, and we've been busy watching him. So this weekend it didn't happen, but he's resting right now, and he's allowing me to do a podcast right now. So thank you, Roland. Anyway, I have a lot of things to share. I hope you're doing well, and I've got some finished things done. Woo! But there's always more, and let's get to it. So this is the first thing that I have finished. Is my color block scarf. This was a very fun scarf to do, very simple pattern. It was so many chains, I just followed the pattern, and it came out like this. I like to wear it like this, and it comes out like that. It's a nice 6-foot scarf. I could wrap it like this on because it's nice and wide and protect my face, but I like it like this. Now, I did it for the length that the pattern told me to, and I still had some left over, and so I started working on a simple beanie, nothing frilly, nothing, because the yarn does all the hard, heavy lifting, and but I didn't have quite enough. I used up the entire ball, and I asked my husband if I could possibly get another ball of yarn just to make this hat. And he asked me, well, is it for you? And I went, yes. And he said, well, then you can get it. So I'm so used to making things for other people that, that happens to crocheters, and we're so busy making things for other people, we forget ourselves. So I went back to Walmart, and I bought a whole other ball of the Super Saver color block. And I made my hat. Isn't it pretty? And let's see, the way I like to wear it is this side forward. It doesn't matter, I could wear it any way forward, but this is my hat. So my hat and my scarf are finished. Now here is the problem. I have all this left. I definitely did not need a full ball to get a hat done, but now I have all of this lovely stuff, and I'm wondering what to do with it. So for those of you who are curious, if this is your first time, hi, welcome. Please stay and watch. This is the Super Saver, Red Heart Super Saver color block. It's 10 ounces. You get a good amount. You get 482 yards, 440 meters. And this is called Party Time. To me, this is very 80s, very early 90s. I love it. I have enough. I know I could do a pair of wristers, or I could definitely go full 80s and go for leg warmers. So comment below, leg warmers or wristers. And while you're busy commenting, you can like and subscribe and ring the bell. Good, I've said all the things. But this was a lot of fun to make. This is probably the fastest scarf I've ever done, because it was so many chains. I could tell you it was probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was 22. Now I remember. It was 22 chains, half doubles, and the yarn did all the work. And I did it so fast because it was what color will be next. So I enjoyed making this, but I'm going to take it off because it's really warm. If you hear the gurgling, I've got my dishwasher going. Sorry. So that is the set, and it's really starting to warm up. I mean, it's still chilly, but by the middle of the day, we're getting into the high 40s, early 50s, which may sound still a little chilly, but for us, it's like, yay, spring, it's coming. So this will be nice for maybe a few more weeks, and then it'll be put away for the fall. So that is my finished object. I'm just going to set that right over here. Now, things that I am working on. I've got a few things to share. The last time I saw you, I showed you my Call the Midwife blanket. Well, in the time that I delivered that blanket, baby girl was born, and yay, I figured that since baby girl is here and I know my pattern and I bought the yarn, I might as well launch into the loveys. So for those of you, I'll remind you my pattern. I got it from the Crochet Now magazine. I'm sure my viewers, if I have any viewers from the UK, you guys see this magazine probably a lot more than we do here in the States. I got mine at my local Joann's. And this is Crochet Now. It is issue number 91. And I am doing the Peanuts Loveys. Working on Snoopy first. Woodstock will be next. And this is what I have so far. It's so beautiful. Very simple pattern. It's basically a granny. And then I did the border is a front post double crochet and back post double crochets, and it makes this lovely border. And so this will be the body, and so when Snoopy's head is here, it'll drape like this. And the yarn that I am using is Cascade Yarns 220 superwash, 100% superwash wool, so they can chuck this in the wash. It is 100 grams, 220 yards to 200 meters. So this is what I'm using. It's not white, but I think for baby, it's going to be just fine. I think it's going to look very, very cute. And the other part that I've completed on the Snoopy is I started the head. Let's see if I can get Snoopy's profile just right, because here's the start, and then I do the increase of when Snoopy's head goes up, and his eyes, I got safety eyes because I'm not going to embroider. His eyes are going to go right here. And then I stopped because it was you can now start filling with fiberfill, but I hadn't gotten my safety eyes, and so I stopped. But all I have left is I got to do the head of Snoopy, a nose in black, the ears, back patch, 2 little arms. But this is all of the color of what I have left. So I know I'll have enough for 2 little arms and the rest of Snoopy's head. But this is coming along really well. This is a wonderful yarn to work with. Again, I feel like we're going into summer. I feel like they're going to receive this just to put it away, but I want to make sure that they have this by the end of the school year. So when it starts to get a little nippy, they will have it. And I can't wait to work on Woodstock. Woodstock is just all of the gold color, because he is the same color for all the parts. Snoopy has a little bit more of a variety. But this is the Snoopy Lovey. Alrighty, and the last thing that's a lie. I've got 2 more things I'm working on. So I mentioned that I made socks for my husband, myself, and my son, and my daughter was the only one left who did not have handmade socks. So I took her to Fiber and Ice, and she picked out her yarn, and I think last podcast I told you she picked out Malabrigo, and the color name was with the Ultimate Sock. She picked, Ultimate Sock, and she picked the color Sur, S-U-R, which means south. I looked that up, so it has to mean something. And I started on her socks. Ooh, and I'm doing just a simple top-down ankle sock. The size I am using is a small women's. She is straddling that weird divide between being an extra large child or a small women's, and so I'm going up, and this is what I have so far. So here's her cuff going down into the heel, and now I'm just working on the foot. Single crochets around the foot until I do the tapered toe, and then I sew the ends together. Until I sew the ends together, and I'll have her first sock, and it's coming along really well. I have her try it on just to see where it's lying on her foot. I have more inches of foot than I thought I did. I have probably close to 5 inches, but I'll keep having her try it on and document as I go. But these are turning out really well. They're nice on her foot. She goes, Mommy, these are a little hard to get on. I'm like, good. That means they're the right size. They will loosen up the more you wear them. I got to share something with you though. So she picked this without any knowledge of what I'm about to share with you. But one of the things that the music that we listen at our house, we are really, really big fans of synthwave. And if you don't know what synthwave is, go on YouTube and just type in well, synthwave. It's a music that is very reminiscent for people my age of when you think of the 1980s, when you think of the 80s as far as, you know, the neon lights and the arcades and the cool cars and driving in LA and, you know, and feeling cool. Synthwave is just really great music. And one of the groups that my husband really likes is Gunship. Gunship is great. I highly recommend their Dark All Day album. But a synthwave group that I really like is The Midnight. They are a synthwave group. They're two guys, and I love their music. And I love vinyl. So one of the vinyls I have from The Midnight is the Kids vinyl. There is a point to this, I promise. And I was listening to Kids. The other one I have of them is Nocturnal. Look up the song Crystalline. Crystalline's amazing. If you like Crystalline, then you'll like their stuff. But I was listening to this, and I always have my records out on display when I'm crocheting or doing anything, and it dawned on me, this overall has like kind of like a lavender or purple hue along with all the beautiful colors. It's just gorgeous. I love this. But I was working on her socks, and then it dawned on me when I put the colors up, she may not have been aware of this, maybe she did subconsciously, because we listen to this music with the kids and they love it. But to me, it pulls on a lot of the colors that are in here, because I definitely, there is purple in here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's purple through here with the tinges of blue and the pink, and I just think it draws from this so perfectly. And when I showed Catherine the cover and she saw this, the connection was made in her mind, and all of a sudden she wasn't just getting Malabrigo socks, she was getting the Midnight socks. So hey, Midnight, we're making socks in honor of you apparently, but now she has coined these her Midnight socks, which I find hilarious. But it's an easy sock. I just did a rib, you know, in rows, then I joined it together, go down, and then I did a heel flap. I like heel flaps. They're a very simple way to do a heel, and then I'm just doing single crochets all the way down. Very simple, no frills, but you don't need frills when this yarn looks gorgeous. And I have all of this left. So I think I'm doing pretty good. It doesn't use up a lot. You know, this is, let's see, this is from Peru, Malabrigo. It's fingering weight. It's approximately 420 yards, 385 meters. I know I'm gonna have left over. I don't know if I'd have enough to do another pair, but who knows, we'll try. She loves this. I bought this specifically for her, so. That is how it's coming along. By the time I see you again, maybe I will have her socks to show off for you. We'll see. We'll try. I think I can do it. The last thing I'm going to show you is the MCAL from Expression Fiber Arts Multivalence. Multivalence, the clue came out just this last week, and the clue, the color was called Clover. And when I first think clover, maybe the same as for all of you, I think of four-leaf clover, you know, green. But then I looked at the picture, and what they were thinking really was the clover, which is the flower that you see we have it in Alaska. In summer, it's everywhere. It's all over our backyard. It's a flowering weed, or maybe it is just a flower, and it has white flowers. And then at the base of the flower, it's a pink or a fuchsia. And we get tons of them. But the clover yarn that Expression Fiber Arts picked, from the picture that they picked, it had a very lavender hue to it. It was beautiful, but it wasn't what I think of when I think of clover. And for this cowl, I have used only Expression Fiber Arts. That's a lie. I've used Denise's Fiber and Ice yarn, and I really wanted to keep it that way. I didn't want to have to bring in a Malabrigo. I didn't want to bring in another dyer. I really wanted to stay with Denise's. So I went over to her shop to see, maybe she's dyed up a new colorway, and she had in stock, I had the label here. It's probably covered by everything that I'm doing. Here it is. She had her Sport Merino Superwash, 348 yards, 100 grams, and it was her plain white. And I was thinking, when I think clover, I was thinking along the lines of white mixed with speckles of pink, or a hot pink. That's what comes to mind for me. And I found out through the ladies that were there that I could hand dye the yarn. And I went, I can do this? Like, oh yeah, you know, even though you can always add color. And they told me how to do it. And I was very surprised to know, you can dye yarn the way you dye Easter eggs. It's basically the same process. But I went, well, we've never even, we don't do stuff like that because the vinegar and the smell, it'll take over the house and it won't be very nice. And they said, oh, you don't even have to use vinegar. You can use Kool-Aid. And my world went woo, because I went, wait, I can dye yarn with Kool-Aid? I mean, we can get Kool-Aid anywhere, and that's just water and powder, and what magic is this? And so they went, yeah, you can use, because what the key is in the vinegar, the reason you need the vinegar for the eggs and the yarn, is because that is what, the vinegar is what is going to help the color, the dye, come and connect with the yarn and stay. And so Kool-Aid has citric acid, and the citric acid is the magical ingredient that helps the dye and come to the yarn and stay there. So my kids and I got really excited. Science experiment, woo! And we went to our grocery stores. We went to a couple of our grocery stores. Excuse me, I keep dropping hooks. It's annoying. And I was annoyed to find that everyone buys the tubs. Do you guys remember when the Kool-Aid was just in the packets? Yeah, I couldn't find that. It was all in the tubs. And so we had to buy the condiment bottles and measure out our water and our powder to get the colors right. And we took out the white yarn that I bought and just squeezed, oh, let's put more over here. And you get the yarn wet. Then you put the color all over it, make sure it's in a dish that you can microwave, because then you stick it in the microwave, let it rest, put it in the microwave, let it rest, then you let it completely dry, cool to the touch once it's cooled off, and then you hang it. We hung the yarn in my daughter's closet overnight, and the next day we had this. First ball of hand dyed. Catherine wasn't very sure about this, and then when she saw the finished project, she went nuts. She went, this is mine! I went, no, it's mine. I'm using this. But now that we know that we can do it again. And there was no mess. There was no mess to clean up. It was very easy to do. So this might be something, this is a good project to get your kids, or if you're interested in dyeing yarn, it's not a giant hassle. It's get Kool-Aid, have saran wrap, have a microwave, have a place to hang it, and bam, you're in business. You can do this. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And so this is what we got. And I've only got one row left of the, I've kept you in suspense. I've only got one more row left of clue number 4. Give me a minute. I just want to stitch a stitch. And let me see if here is clue Here is clue 4. I think it looks beautiful, and it's starting to implement the other colors. Here is color A, and here is color B, and the row, it was almost finished. I've got to go to here to join the next to last row. But I think it looks beautiful. I think it gives a beautiful contrast, though pink didn't always hit like the same. Like here it's virtually nowhere except maybe there. But I think that's okay. For a first attempt with a mom and the kids, we had a lot of fun doing it. And this is our clue 4. And it's starting to look like this. Woo! I think it's beautiful. I do. I think it's going to look great. And this is only to clue 4. We still have, most of the year to do. We're not even halfway through the year, and it looks this amazing. I was just happy to get colors A and B back and start working them in, but this looks gorgeous. I just have, goodness, I could just finish this up right now. I won't do that to you guys. Yeah, I will. But this was a lot of fun. There were no mistakes in this month's clue, which made me very happy. I had to deal with that problem last month, and it was kind of a headache for less than 24 hours. But this was a very fun clue, and I loved being able to implement old colors and bring them back. And it's funny because the autumn, this was not done on purpose, but the Arctic autumn really blends well because there's little bits of pink, and to see the pink in Arctic autumn be drawn out by the color in the new colorway. Denise's white was just added Kool-Aid. It looks great. It looks beautiful. I will work on this later. The next time I see you, there will definitely be a finished clue number 4. Now, on to something I don't normally do. I don't want to do it all the time, but I'd like to talk to you about some acquisitions. So that some things I acquired, I have no business getting more, but oh well, these things had to come home with me. In March, Denise did a big March Madness sale. I think the sale is still going, so it's turned into April Madness. And she was putting yarns on sale because she's doing new colorways, she's getting new stock, and she's desperately got to get the old stuff out. So if you are in the Wasilla, Eagle River, oh good grief, if you're from Anchorage, just come and look at the stuff she's got, because it's got to go and it's beautiful. And she had commercial yarns that had been there for ages, but I wouldn't buy it because I had enough to do and I had enough yarn, and I believe it's like, look, if I don't need it, even though I think it's beautiful, let someone else get it. If it leaves the shelf, then it was meant to be, had a different home, but if it doesn't leave, well, then maybe it is supposed to go home with me. Well, the yarn that I eyed for months was there, and it was there, and it was there, and no one bought it, and then it was 50% off, and I went, okay, I'm taking it all home. The first one I saw was this big, beautiful cone. You can get the color. It is black with hints of the yellow and orange speck going through it. And it's a fingering weight. You cannot get this in stores. Like, it's not made really anymore. I had to look it up on Ravelry because it's made in the UK. It's Denise Brunton Designer Yarns from Designer Yarns Magicolor Machine Knitting. It's 100% acrylic 4-ply, 340 grams, but it didn't tell me meters. It didn't tell me yards. I mean, I even got an address with this, but it didn't tell me yardage. So I had to go to Ravelry, and Ravelry had the necessary information to let me know that this is, I can say with certainty, it's over 1,800 yards, less than 1,900, but in that ballpark. There's a lot here. And she was selling these cones for $10 a piece, which is a steal. But I had her hold it for me because it wasn't quite within the budget. and I wanted to make sure I got other things done before I buy this beautiful comb. And so by the time I got it, it was $5. So that's when I knew it's time. It's time. So I went on Etsy and I found I wanted a duster. It would make a beautiful cardigan, but I really wanted a long duster. And I think I'm going to make a lotus duster because I really want something with drop sleeves, something very dramatic. And so that's what I'm going to use this for. Sooner or later, that'll be a future project. Now the other commercial yarn that I saw for months and months and months, and it never left the shelf. It came home with me. I bought 5 balls of this. Can you see the halo on that? It feels like I'm holding a cloud. It is a hobby yarn, Colorina, and it is 80% acrylic to 20% virgin wool. It feels beautiful. 50 grams, 200 meters, 218 yards. I bought 5 balls of this, and I wanted a hat because I want something where this is touching me. It feels so, ooh, it feels lovely. But Hobby has a cowl. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm going to end up buying the pattern and just making the Hobby cowl and make it as bubbly as I can around, because I can always wear it over my head, around my neck. It's going to be beautiful, but this is the Hobby yarn. Don't bother going and finding it because I bought all of it. The other yarn that I bought, all the rest of hers, it's very cyberpunk. I think these are very cyberpunk. This is cyberpunk 2020 to me. At least that's what I see. This is Manorola. It's 100% premium acrylic. It's from the World of Yarn. And it is 240 meters, 262 yards. I bought 3 of balls. That was all that was left. That was all she had. And these are the colors. Oh, see another. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no idea. I just know it's just cool. Tell me, what do you think? I mean, I could make a shawl, but shawls aren't cool. I need something that's maybe a poncho. Maybe a poncho. Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. But those are my acquisitions. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but whatever it is, it's going to be awesome looking. So those are yarn for future projects that I will hopefully get to sooner than later. I don't want it languishing for 3 years waiting for me to work on it. So I believe that is everything that I have to talk about for my projects. I just want to quickly talk about some books I'm reading. I am doing more reading. I've done, since I started this podcast, I have read more and I'm getting more done. So I am winning. But I am reading Algernon Blackwood. He is a wonderful author. If you know the works of H.P. Lovecraft, I highly recommend Algernon Blackwood. I don't have the physical copy of the book. I left it at my mother-in-law's house. So I'm actually reading it on Kindle right now. And it's Ancient Sorceries and Other Weird Stories. And his writing is wonderful. I highly recommend him. But other things that I have read is A Brief History of Christian Worship by James F. White. And this is a wonderful book if you are interested in Christian worship, especially if you're in seminary. I went to seminary years ago, and I have a degree in church music. And this is a wonderful book if you are studying, if you're in seminary, if you're just interested in this is a wonderful book. And it's a wonderful jumping point starting from the early church during the Roman Empire through Acts, through the modern world, and how worship has changed over the last few centuries, and it's quite a bit. This is a wonderful jumping stone if you'll find you're interested in the Reformation, if you're interested in where did the Baptists get their start, the Presbyterians, the daily office that the Catholic Church does. If you're interested in those things, you'll find out through this book. But this is a not hard read, and I enjoyed it. I recommend it. And with that, I am going to leave you. I hope you're having a wonderful day, that you are enjoying spring. And for all of us Alaskans, don't worry, it'll firm up, but wear those mud boots. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.